Barry, what are we talking about today?
Well, the gun gripe today is this H.R. 2910 Gun Violence Prevention and Reduction Act of 2013. It's just the same. It's just the same horse shit that's been going on all these years.
People, California, I don't know what the hell they're thinking. I really don't. This makes me so angry. You have no idea. This is just insane. We've got H.R. 2910. It's the Gun Violence Prevention and Reduction Act of 2013. I'm not going to bore you guys with all of the details of this useless document. It's 24 pages worth of crap. I mean, it's literally not even worth the paper it's printed on. Basically, what it entails is let's see, what's his name? The person that you guys need to be ringing his phone off the hook. Let's see, Henry Waxman out of California, a Democrat out of California, introduced August 1st, 2013. Guys, this is some just bogus crap. I mean, how much longer are we going to sit by and have to deal with this stuff? I mean, now granted, it's in the very early stages and everything like that, but this is the kind of stuff you have to watch out for, because they're going to sweep it under the rug if you're not careful. And you know, the last thing we want to do is create a panic or make people think, oh my God, they're going to try to ban all this stuff again. And it's basically just a revised version
of the same
thing that they've been trying to push for years. Okay, so it's nothing new. I mean, they want all the semi-automatics. They want all guns with, you know, detachable magazines, etc., etc.
Not only is it the same stuff, but it's expanded upon. This has a lot of little clauses in here that they're going to check. Like if your kid draws a picture of a gun in school, they're talking about your child has to go to counseling. Right. What it is, they're trying to get these young kids. This is nothing but zero tolerance.
Right.
All over again.
To protect American children and their families from the epidemic of gun violence by banning access to certain weapons, strengthening the nation's mental health infrastructure, and improving the understanding of gun violence. So what it all comes down to, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but there's basically language in there that, you know, depending on how you interpret it or depending on how you translate it, can be taken as, like Barry said, if your, son, all right, let's say you and your son go and shoot guns all the time, all right, and your son goes to school and draws a picture of a gun, and then another student sees that picture and turns them into to the police or the teacher, so to speak. The teacher can make determinations that says, oh, well, we have to investigate your family's life, and they can get defects involved, and basically it's more Big Brother appearing over your shoulder. I mean, they basically want to be able to say in the letter of law that they have the right to tell you how you're going to raise your children, and they want to basically. It's just bad juju, people. It really is, and it's something that we do not need to see the light of day with. I mean, you can read it on your own and respond to it all you want, but at the end of the day, we need to make sure we're writing everybody, and making sure that we're barking up every tree on this.
Right. We had 2 subscribers today calling from California talking about this very thing. And they say the same thing we do. It's the same old stuff that they've been trying to cram down our throats for 20-something years now. And they're slowly creeping at it. States like California will get this thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, at the state level, of course, they'll get it. You get the government that you asked for. I mean, and that's just the bottom line. If people in California don't stand up and say enough is enough, then it's never going to improve. It's never going to get better. I mean, like, I know polls can't really be believed all the time, but like I saw a poll on TV earlier where they were saying that like 82% of people out there that were polled think that people are too dependent on the government. Mm-hmm. Another poll, said that like 62 or 67% of people think that Congress doesn't deserve a vacation, a recess, which, if, in my opinion, they deserve a permanent recess. Because the government has too much power as it is, and these state people, they really abuse their power. I mean, if you can vote yourself in a raise, aren't you going to vote it? If you sit around a giant table and someone says, do you want a raise? Everybody's going to raise their hand, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't say how much. They just asked you if you want a raise. Of course you're going to vote it in. Mm-hmm. If someone puts apart some bill or law and says, okay, we want to vote on whether or not you are limited to a 5-year term limit, as a sitting senator or congressman or what have you, or whatever high office, you're not going to vote yay for that because you want to keep your job. You know, these people are on a power trip. You know, they get in a position of office and they stay there a long time. I mean, the career politicians like Feinstein and all these people, you know, they've gotten on such a power trip that it's like they're on this horse carrying their banner and they don't want to get off. And it's just this power, you know, that they're going to make the peons do what they want them to do, but they're going to do what they want.
Well, what really disturbs me about all this gun control stuff, you got people in Colorado, California, New York, they hate where they live. And there's no reason for an American to hate where they live.
I agree.
If I hated living in Georgia, I wouldn't live in Georgia.
Right.
And the two people that called me today said just as soon as they can, they're leaving California. Because they don't want to be under this. It's degrading. It's degrading to have a government try to tell you what's best for you.
I know, and I've never understood that. I mean, again, it just goes back into a lot of our previous gun gripes where we talk about, Big Brother and, the thought police and all this kind of stuff. It's the same thing, but I mean, in a situation where it's not someone's right to tell me how to live my life when they obviously don't know me, they don't know what I'm about, I don't think some politician has the right to decide how I'm supposed to live my life. As long as I don't deprive someone of their liberty, and as long as I'm not doing anything bad, harmful, or creating a victim, as long as I'm not creating a victim of somebody by depriving them of their liberty or rights or hurting them, I should be able to do whatever the hell I want. And I don't think they ought to have a damn right to have any say over that.
Well, I think Americans should have ultimate freedom, and here in Georgia we pretty well enjoy that.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that the government can make you a criminal. You may not have any legal intent to harm. You may have a safe full of AR-15s that are legal today, but who's to say they're not legal tomorrow?
Well, that's right, and and that's bogus. And again, another good example is, I know guys that own multiple crates of Mosin Nagants.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're going to look on a 4473, and some, let's just say some ATF person were to pull a 4473 that shows 20 rifles on one transaction. Well, they come in a crate of 20. If I were to buy 20 rifles, does that make me some kind of crazy person or whatever? No, it just means I want to buy it as an investment, or I want to buy it and then, hand them out to my buddies or something, or whatever. I mean, obviously people I would know. I wouldn't just hand them out to anyone, but that's, of course, theoretical. I haven't done that and don't intend to do that. But, again, it's just, how much or what type of what someone buys is really irrelevant. I mean, you have states like Wyoming. I was speaking to Tim from Military Arms Channel earlier on the phone right before this gripe, and we were, me and him were just going back and forth about certain things, and me and Tim have a very similar point of view about things. Of course, my opinions in this video don't necessarily reflect his. However, me and Tim did agree that a lot of this stuff's bogus, and the determination that we have come to collectively is that we don't really think that this bill, that this act, or that this legislation is going to go anywhere. All right, people aren't dumb enough to vote for this. There's even left-wing, liberal, anti-gun people that even those people think this is crazy. This is legislation that represents the furthest extreme that a potential state government is willing to go to deprive the citizenry of their rights.
Mm-hmm.
So
now, the gun legislation the Obama administration tried to pass recently that failed, what they did, they tried to take too big of a bite too quick. They couldn't, it was too much too quick. Now, this gun control thing always has to creep. It has to creep, but when it's running at you like a runaway train, people said no.
that's true.
And I don't think somebody should be able to sit in a room and make me a criminal by signing a piece of legislation.
Well, not even that, but I mean, somebody that I've never met before and probably never will meet,
And probably don't want to meet.
deciding what my legal future is going to be just because I'm a gun owner. I mean, they don't they don't criminalize people for collecting stamps or collecting Coke bottles or collecting cars. Cars are deadly weapons. Jay Leno, I'm sure, could run over a bunch of people with all the cars he owns, but you don't see him trying to ban cars. And the idea, the argument that, okay, this gun is deadly or could be deadly, that's completely irrelevant. Planes are deadly. Hello? We see what planes have done.
Well,
I mean,
The only value a gun has, it is deadly. It allows you to protect yourself, and it levels the playing field. If a gun wasn't deadly, you wouldn't need it.
Right, right, and the government wouldn't be so concerned. I mean, guys like Waxman here, if they weren't so concerned about depriving you of your liberty, they wouldn't be concerned about trying to take your guns. But I'll leave you with this, all right? A government that is willing to take your guns is a government that's not your friend.
Right.
And that's just the bottom line. The only reason a government would deprive a citizenry of their rights to own firearms is because they do not have good intentions for that citizenry. That is the bottom line. It doesn't have anything to do with what's right or wrong. It doesn't have anything to do with what someone could or could not do with them or anything at all. It has to do with their intentions.
Power grab.
It's a power grab. And, we don't want to cause any kind of panic with this. We'll leave you with that. I mean, we don't want people going out and, taking part in the same madness that took place in December. We don't want people fear buying,
But what we're trying to get across to everybody is keep your eyes open. I told the 2 subscribers today, you need to ring that phone off the hook.
Yeah, like
you need to write every congressman. You need to make it so tough on them that they're going to be overwhelmed with mail.
Yeah.
Send them letters, whatever you have to do. But this proves right here, folks, that this is never going to go away. They may not get this, but think of all the worry and the trauma they're putting people through that are living in California. They don't know. They have an unsure future as far as their gun rights go, and that's not right for an American to have to live under that.
No, it's not. And an American's an American is an American.
Right.
If somebody's a U.S. citizen and they have the rights set forth in federal law, then that should be their right. Some state, laws shouldn't have the right to disarm someone just because it's their prerogative, just because they think it should. I mean, I think that's a really corrupt area of our society. State law is a double-edged sword, because on one end, state law can grant a ton of rights that the federal government probably wouldn't like you to have. A good example is Wyoming. Wyoming is like, hey, we're going to make SBRs, we're going to make machine guns, and screw you, federal government, you're not going to enforce your laws here because we're not going to let you. Then on the other end, you got guys like California, they're like, screw everyone, we want all the power. So it's crazy. You really have to keep an eye on this stuff. And, we feel for our friends in California. We've got a lot of YouTubers that watch us in California. And guys, it sucks, but you've got to fight it at every turn. And
let your voice be heard, especially at the voting polls.
That's right. And, generally with the gun gripes, we try not to get into the political stuff too often because it's a gray area, and no one likes to talk about political stuff too often. But we will leave you with the fact that, look, you've got to fight this, okay, people? Don't let it just slip by. Keep an eye on it. Watch it close. It's probably still a ways out in terms of actually being voted on, or even if it's even brought to a vote, it might not even make it that far.
But this is what's proposed, and that's what's important.
And that's what's important, and it's what's appalling.
Right.
The fact that they would even propose this, and people read it up, because it's got some stuff in here that is like some very scary sounding stuff. I mean, I'm talking, they want to redefine what mental health issues are. I mean, if they had their way, there's no telling what they'd come up with. They would make, 3/4 of the citizens in the U.S. unable to buy guns just by blanket clause. Like Barry said, turning you into a criminal.
Like they turn you into a criminal by signing something, and that's not right. If you're a citizen, I work every day, pay taxes. I try to be level with everybody and treat everybody the same way, and I'll be damned if they're going to make me a criminal by signing a piece of paper. They can't do that. I'm not going to let that happen. Not here.
None of us are. And
it's not going to happen.
That's just
here.
it. I mean, we've got to fight the power. I mean, you got to think, there's a ton of us, and there's only a few of them. You're going to let a few people, they're human beings, they're just people. You're going to let a few people decide what all of us have to do and just let them get away with it? I mean, if you just refuse to accept it and just refuse to obey it, then there's nothing they can do. And a lot of law enforcement people, and I know we've been on this gripe a minute, I don't want to keep you guys too much longer, but a lot of law enforcement guys that I've talked to are like, I'm not enforcing that.
Right.
So see, the federal government doesn't have this huge task force of goons. All right, they rely on the state government to enforce their laws. So if a state government, like the one in Wyoming, says, screw you, those laws are completely unconstitutional and we're not going to enforce them, well then what's the feds going to do? Pay $1 trillion and hire a goon force, a vice squad to come around. No, I'm not going to do that. You know, we're talking about how bad the economy is and everyone's broke, and they want, you know, they're going to spend $1 trillion on a Gestapo force to come take your guns. Yeah, right.
Well, that would be the end of it right there. I mean, I hate to see something like that, and I'm not happy with a lot of things going on in this country. I'm not happy with a lot of things going on here, but here in the Deep South, we're this side of the Mississippi River and below the Mason-Dixon line. These states down here, we're gun folk.
We are,
and we're going to cling to them, and that's all there's to it. You know.
I agree.
But I just don't think that they should be able to make me a criminal just by signing a piece of paper. So we're going to close this one out, folks. We've dwelled on this pretty long, but we want you to think about this, look it up, download it, read it, word for word. It's going to take you a while to do it, but the wording in here is what's troublesome. The wording.
Yes, it is. All right, well, people, we appreciate you watching today. Take your kid shooting. Take your kid out, go shooting, and don't dwell on this crap, okay? You know, we're not trying to create fear. Don't dwell on it. Take your kid shooting, hang out, enjoy yourself. But remember that, you know, there are the powers that be. They do lurk. Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for watching, people, and we'll catch you next week.
Stay vigilant.
Oh, yeah.